Hey guys, we're starting our new mystery book today. It is so good. Everybody at my house has been dying to read it. You can read it later. Go, you can read it later. I'm telling you, it's such a good book. She loves it. All right, so you're lucky. Let's get started. Take it then. All right, our new book is called The Whodunit Detective Agency, The Diamond Mystery. So another mystery. No more Dink, Josh, or Ruth Rose. Some of you are probably happy about that. Some of you might miss those characters. All right, we're going to get started. The Diamond Mystery. It says, the books in the Whodunit Detective Agency series are set in a charming little town of Pleasant Valley. It's the sort of close-knit community where nearly everyone knows one another. The town and the characters are all fictional, of course. Or are they? The main characters, Jerry and Maya, are classmates and close friends who run a small detective agency together. The streets were empty in the little town of Pleasant Valley. At 3:30 on a chilly February afternoon, it was already growing dark. A late winter storm had left the town slick with freezing rain. There was a light shining through the basement window of a small house just east of the town. Inside, two children enjoyed the cozy warmth of the basement. Their names were Jerry and Maya, classmates and good friends from school. They were off from school for winter break. Most of their friends were charging down the sledding hill, but neither Jerry nor Maya felt like joining them. They had something else on their minds. I have a feeling that something exciting is going to happen soon, said Jerry hopefully. Mild Mumba. Her nose was in a book as usual. The two classmates had set up a small office in Maya's basement, and they sat in two old armchairs that stood next to a table piled high with books. More volumes of thick books. Maya's dad's detective stories lined the walls. Maya and Jerry liked to sit in this room and read. During winter break, they wanted to learn everything about how thieves and police officers worked. You see, Maya and Jerry were not just friends. They were partners as well. Together, they ran a detective agency, the Whodunit Detective Agency. A detective, of course, is a type of police officer who wears regular clothes instead of an official uniform. A detective carries out investigations and spies on suspects and takes photographs and looks through binoculars. In the end, a good detective solves the case and catches the criminal. I wish we had a really exciting case, said Maya with a sigh. Maybe all of the thieves are on winter break too, said Jerry. Maya opened a tidy cabinet to make sure everything inside was well organized. It held everything they needed for their detective work. A camera with a flash to take photos in the dark. A pair of binoculars to spy on things from far away. A magnifying glass to check for fingerprints. A mirror to peer around corners. Several false noses and wigs to disguise themselves. A few flashlights to use when it was dark. A safe to protect the money they had earned. But their safe was empty because nothing exciting had happened for a long time. But once it did, Jerry and Maya were ready. They had put up signs all around Pleasant Valley. On nearly every streetlight and door they had hung posters that said, "The Whodunit Detective Agency, now accepting exciting and dangerous assignments. Lost wallets and runaway cats recovered. Low prices, taxes included." So while Jerry and Maya waited for an exciting case, they researched detective stories. Maya was just about to fill Jerry in on the book she was reading. It was a story about a dog napper who stole dogs tied up outside of stores and then called the dogs' owners to demand ransoms for the poor pooches. Maya was upset just thinking about it. That was one criminal she would really like to catch. But before she had a chance to describe the case to Jerry, there was a knock on the door. Jerry and Maya looked at each other in surprise. Who could it be? All right, you might want to grab a pencil because today is all about writing a great response. So grab your pencils to do a little bit of planning and we'll be on our way. All right, in order to write a good response today, we are hoping that it will be 3 to 5 sentences long, and not only sentences, but complete sentences with capital letters and punctuation. We would like to know your thoughts, so make sure you're writing your thoughts, and then include what part of the book made you think that. Include your evidence or events from the book. Lastly, make sure you're specific. Don't use words like things and stuff and it. Give us specific names and what the stuff is or who it is. All right, on to what are we going to write about? All right, so we started our new mystery book today. Many of you have started a new mystery book, or maybe two, or maybe you're just about to start your next mystery book. Either way, we know those are the days when it's kind of tricky to do a response. You just might not know enough about your book yet to do a good response. So today, that's not going to matter. There are lots of options for your response, so pick one that works for you. Because like I said, I started reading my book. I know who the crime solvers probably are. There's co-detectives, but I don't know clues. I don't know suspects. I don't even really know what the mystery is yet, except that it's going to be a diamond mystery that I got from the front. So let's take a look at some of the options and think about what I might write with my first chapter. And then you can also look at what you might write with what you read today. So let's take a look. All right, so here are some of the options I could write about. Remember, I just read the first chapter. We know Maya and Jerry were sitting at home when most kids were out sledding. They were reading some books. Okay, so let's see what I might write about. So it says, you can write about questions that you have about something that you read. I don't really have any questions, I guess. You could write about the main events in the chapter, the section you did today, so you could kind of retell the chapter or recap the chapter. Okay, that I could do. I could write about a strategy that I used while reading today. Well, I guess I was kind of visualizing things in my head. I could write about that. It says, write about a prediction and explain what made you think of it. I can probably predict that Maya and Jerry are going to solve a mystery, but that's not that interesting. I think we knew that before we even started reading. Let's see, a part you liked or didn't like and why. Well, I didn't really do, not much happened there, so I guess I didn't really like or dislike anything. I could write about character traits or what I'm noticing about the characters in your book. Well, we know kind of enough about Maya and Jerry. This whole chapter was kind of getting to know them. That might be a good one. Or I could write about just something I noticed in my mystery. So think about things that we've been learning about mysteries. Do I have any elements yet? I talked about, I know my detective and my co-detective. Actually, I don't know which one, if one of them is going to help or if they're both kind of a team, it sounds like. All right, so lots of options. Now my job is to pick one. All right, I know I keep moving around. Sorry, I'm trying to find some good lighting and I'm just not finding it. So as I was thinking about what I could do for my response for the first chapter of this book, I thought about what really happened in that chunk that I read. Well, I got introduced to Maya and Jerry, the main characters, so I thought the character trait one might be a good one because basically I got to know about my characters. And when I thought about who did I get to know more about, well, they're kind of a team here, but there was a couple of things it said about Maya that gave me the idea that she was probably a pretty smart girl. So the first one was when Jerry was talking to Maya and he said, I have a feeling something exciting is going to happen soon. Mumbled Maya. She had her nose in a book as usual. Okay, so we know she reads a lot. And also, they were in her basement with all of her dad's detective books, so those were all over the floor. So someone who reads a lot is probably pretty smart. I also noticed on this page, it said, Maya opened a tidy cabinet to make sure everything inside was well organized. So she reads a lot. Things are tidy, which means clean, and she likes to be organized. So those were kind of the ideas that told me that she's probably smart. So that's what I'm going to go with. So now I just got to do a little bit of planning, and I'm going to go ahead and write my response. All right, so I did a little planning on why I think Maya is smart. Again, I just jotted down that she usually has her nose in a book. Kind of thought about it in the beginning. It said most of their friends were sledding. So I said, oh, well, she could be sledding, but she's reading instead. And then it also that she'd like things neat and tidy. Someone who reads a lot definitely learns a lot. So I think this is pretty good. I'm going to start writing it out. All right, I'm going to start by saying my first thought, what a main thing I'm talking about. I think the character in my book, Maya, is smart. Now I need to add why I think that. What happened in the book that gave me this idea? All right, I added in what in the book gave me that idea. I think the character in my book, Maya, is smart. I think this because it said her nose is usually in a book and she is reading instead of sledding. That's pretty good. Let's see, I use specific names and details. I have my thoughts. I think she's smart. I have some evidence. 3 to 5 complete sentences. Ooh, I've got 2. I think I should add a little bit more. All right, I think I've got it now. I think I've got a good response. Besides it being a little messy, because I'm trying to write it on the floor here, it says, I think the character in my book, Maya, is smart. I think this because it said in her nose is usually in a book and she is reading instead of sledding. People who read a lot are usually smart because they learn a lot. I bet she'll be a good crime solver. I added that last part just because it seemed like a good way to end it, because I do think, now that I'm thinking, she's probably pretty smart. She's probably going to be pretty good at figuring out clues and suspects. All right, so I've got my 3 to 5 sentences. I use specific names and details. I added my thoughts, and I used some text evidence. All right, so no teasing and assembling for the bad writing, but I think I've got a pretty good response for today. So think about your reading today. What did you wonder, predict, or think about? Let your teacher know with a great response. Just realized my last step as I was erasing my whiteboard. My very last step for you guys today was supposed to be to double check for capital letters and punctuation, and I wanted to fix Maya and I did not. So before you guys are finished today and shut down your Chromebook, I want you, don't forget to double check for capital letters and, well, that's funky punctuation. Have a good day, guys.